My name is Angel Baeza. I've been a victim of polio when I was a small child here in Baja California. I was affected by polio when I was a year and a half old. As my young childhood, I had to crawl in the dirt because of polio. I was brought to an orphanage in Baja. So I grew up to 10 years old when I was evaluated by some medical doctors with the possibility of blessing me with some surgeries on my legs, which is what's needed. I got my first surgery when I was 10 years old at a hospital in Los Angeles. Through praises and crutches and prayer, at the age of 12 years old, I began to walk. I grew up in the orphanage until I was 17 or 18, and I ran away from the orphanage and wandered the world and tried to explore the United States. There wasn't much there because really what I was exploring is the streets of Los Angeles and San Diego areas and getting myself into trouble on crutches. So I decided to move to Mexico here in San Vicente, where I married my wife. And 10 years ago, I was bound into a wheelchair because of an auto accident, and it made it worse. So there was always a purpose.
For years, our church has been involved helping to build actual church buildings in Honduras. We'd send a group down every summer. And in the last year, though, we've had some people from our church going to Mexico. And they got to know in Mexico a man by the name of Angel. Bound to a wheelchair, this Mexican brother in the Lord developed a passion for building special wheelchairs, particularly for kids. Kids who otherwise in a poor town or village would pretty much be left in the dirt. And so some of our people at our church got to know this man named Angel and brought supplies to him, old wheelchairs that he could refashion, bicycle parts because he needed all-terrain wheels, things like that.
Before we went to Honduras is when I first met Angel. And in talking to Angel and finding out what he did and what God's call in his heart was, I had just barely got to know him, but I knew what he did.
Angel builds and gives away all these chairs to people who are paralyzed. He supports his ministry by selling jewelry on the side.
I was crippled and I had a car accident, and there was a purpose for all this. It is to help the disabled children, all kinds of ages. Help them with the mobility by building wheelchairs, special apparatuses that they need. God had a plan for me. Now I have the ability of just looking at how something is made, and I can pick it up and I can just put my hands to work. Sergio has been my right-hand helper for a year now. He's a double amputee, helping to modify wheelchairs, and also a great inventor. He also very bright, and he figures things out when I don't have a clue how to figure things out. It's very difficult to live in an area like this, being disabled. Rocks, sand, mud, no sidewalks, no ramps. And every daily as you go forward in life here in Mexico, you find that there's always obstacles, but your spirit's not stopped. Keep going. This is also what we do with the wheelchairs. We put mountain bike tires on the back and pneumatic tires in the front, and it opens the road on the rocky roads and sandy here in Baja. We see the disabled requesting a wheelchair. Here's your wheelchair, but is that it? Did you fulfill the need? No. They can leave that wheelchair if they get a leg. So that's where it all started. Sergio was one of the first patients to receive legs and be able to walk through the new expansion of the ministry.
Our team that went to Honduras were assigned to a village where they met a little boy, age 6. His name is Edine.
We were working on a church that was larger than normal, so we needed everybody there to help get this thing done in the amount of time that we had.
One of the biggest highlights of the trip is to watch the children at Vacation Bible School. They are like shiny pennies. Their faces are awesome and beautiful. And a little boy caught my eye who was leaning against another boy. And the one boy was holding up the other boy, and after a bit, he sat him down on the plank. He couldn't hold him up any longer. And I watched him for a while, and I heard God tell me, pick him up. And I thought, I don't pick up the boy, Lord, because the boy doesn't know me. It's not my boy. But God kept telling me, pick him up. And so I listened, and I went over, and I just reached out and picked him up and held him in my arms over the heads of the other children so that he could see what was happening in Vacation Bible School, because he was missing it. And when he left that day, I watched the other boy, which turns out to be his brother, put him on the bicycle bar and pedal him down the dirt road. And I realized that the one boy belonged to the other, that if it wasn't for the grace of his brother, he didn't get anywhere. And so the next day, I saw him, and I knew I needed to be on the job site working, but I put the word out to the other men in the group that we need to pick this boy up so that he can see what's going on, and so we all did it.
She starts telling me that he can't walk. There's something wrong with his legs, and that they've been holding him up, and they just got to the point where they were too tired and they can't hold him up. So she says, would you hold him up? And so I said, sure. And so I held him up for a while. And after a while, he got heavy because we're watching the puppet show. So, you know, I think Stu came, and I passed him off to him. And then from Stu, it was Manny. I thought, wow, you know, God used us to do that. Yet, I think God had a much bigger picture in mind, because what happened was, one of the guys that went with us that was holding him, Manny, he goes to Mexico, and in Mexico he met a man who makes wheelchair for people that can't walk.
They came back from that trip to Honduras with a little vision in their hearts. Somehow maybe Angel in Mexico could build a chair that they could then take back to Honduras a year later.
During the year after coming back from Honduras, on one trip to Mexico, the Lord just brought Eden to my mind because of some of the things that Angel was talking about in finding children with that type of need, and helping them and being able to do something for them. And I mentioned it to Angel, and Angel's eyes just lit up. And the first thing he says, do you think one of my bicycles could get to Honduras? And it all started from there.
So with enough lead time, he built a special chair for Edine. They bring it up to the States, initially just the frame of the chair to have it specially treated with a baked-on kind of paint. Took the frame back to him, he finished the chair, gave extra tires, extra supplies, tools. Then it comes back up to our place here in Southern California. Then our team was getting ready to go to Honduras, so they box it all up and ship it down to Honduras on the plane with him. And then a few of us put that wheelchair in a little pickup truck, and we drove several hours to the village where our team was the year before. So we arrived about 6 o'clock, and at 6:30 the service began, and here comes this mother carrying her little boy, Edine. There was, of course, a lot of music, very spirited, energetic worship time, and then I, as the visiting pastor, was asked to speak, and I shared a message from the scriptures, and then the closing story was about acts of service and love toward other people, and told about a brother who's not Honduran nor American, he's Mexican, and said that now, thousands of kilometers away, we've brought a special gift for this boy. It was a great day, a great celebration of followers of Christ working together internationally to solve one family's special need. And at the end of the service, of course, other boys flocked around to see this special wheelchair. When it was all over, he pedaled his way out of the church, down the stairs on his bicycle, a couple little small steps, and then pedaled right down that dirt road with mobility. It was a beautiful sight.
My goal is someday give hope as much as I can. Through the work that the Lord has allowed me to do, is to share God's love He has given us. It's very beautiful to share God's love with my hands. Every day that I'm doing modifying wheelchairs, I'm just looking forward, exciting to finish and just sharing the God of love to them and tell them it's because Jesus loves you, and give the honor and the glory to Him.